Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday. Well, my voice is cracking. It's Wednesday, and we are excited about today. We got how to accept no training, the no rules, receiving no, accepting no, overcoming through no's. That's the training this Friday. So David at dmeltzer.com is the only place to go to get everything that you want. ShimmeYourBook.com, David at dmeltzer.com. Join me. Welcome. We got some great guests coming on today. Happy Wednesday, Colleen, Jake. Good to see you. Good to hear you. It's going to be an amazing day. It already started off. I'm naming my days More Good News. More Good News. That's the name of my days. More good news. Just more good news. Do you know what the biggest room? I had a coaching client tell me today. Do you know what the biggest room in the world is? The room for improvement. That's right. It's quantumly infinity. The room for improvement is the biggest room. And I want you all to join me in that room today. Forget the clubhouse. Anthony, good to see you. Let's all join in the room for improvement, the biggest room that there is. I love it. Thank you for that quote. What's up? Good morning, Enrique. Good to see you as well. What's an unexpected lesson you've learned recently? An unexpected lesson. Oh, a lot of lessons that I learned are just forgotten lessons. Unexpected lesson that I've learned. Room for improvement is a great lesson. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. More good news. Man, there's so many great lessons that I've learned. All based on humility. So unexpectedly, just catching myself and not being humble and trying to be the best I can be. I think one of the unexpected ones is still understanding the quantum speed of thought and how thought can move faster than the speed of light, which means that if we can gather data faster than the speed of light, then we can appear to have things happen at the same time or one meshed before the other. Think about it. If you can refocus fast enough, move your thought and gather data points from each of those thoughts, it can gather those thoughts faster than time itself. And that's how we can be more productive, accessible, and gracious. I thought I'd get a little bit deep there. Grand Rising, awesome. More Good News Wednesday. That's what we're on, More Good News Wednesday. Ask Me Anything Monday, More Good News Wednesdays. And we'll just all get more good news and set our sights in that respect. Let me know, team, where maybe, Jake, you could pin up David at dmeltzer.com or shipmeyourbook.com or my text community. So people want my book signed, sent, and delivered to them. We are all good. I'll be happy to pay for shipping and send it to you. Thank you, Jake. That's cool. Jake's going to pin here. I'm going to pin up my text number, 949-298-2905, and my email, david at dmeltzer.com, if you need my books, exercises, guides, trainings. Cannot see your comments, Team David Meltzer. I can see that comment asking me about the comments, so that's my friend FU. He's in charge of Team David Meltzer. Is marriage truly worth it? Determined upon your timing and risk tolerance is how you should, in your inventory of values, consider marriage. For me, my marriage is the best thing, social contract that I've created, the most intimate, positive relationship that has expanded my life and allowed me to share it through me with so many others. So, but that's me. All the opinions I have are strictly mine, and they're here to guide you by either being good ideas or bad ideas. Either way, they're going to guide you. So hopefully I have more good ideas than bad ideas, but sometimes I say stuff that may not resonate with you and it'll move you in the right direction, which is terrific. You can be used as a good example or a bad example. So keep with it. Reach out to me, David at dmeltzer.com. When you're so incredible. Thank you, Laura. Very cool. All right, let's take another question real quick. Who is your accountant? Need that person in my life? No, you don't. Find your own. My accountant doesn't know how to add, so I got a problem with my accountant. But that's all right. Dave, please let's have a podcast. If you want to interview me, go ahead. David at dmeltzer.com. Reach out. Please, any requests you have, David at dmeltzer.com. or join my text community to be updated on all the trainings, guides, books, exercises, speeches, whatever we're doing, TV shows. 949-298-2905. They're pinned below because we can't see Team David Meltzer anywhere. All right. I am looking for Michelle. Let me see where she is at. Michelle Sorrow. She is the CEO of Michelle Sorrow Inc. and the host of Fire and Soul podcast. Where's she at? Oh, there she is. She popped up. Amazing. I love this technology. Good morning, Michelle. Come join us in here. michelle-sorrow.com/the podcast accelerator, Fire and Soul podcast. Where did you go? I hit request. Where's my friend, Michelle? Holy the moly. We'll try it one more time. Looks like she dropped off. Michelle, are you here, my dear? She's so incredible. She's so worth listening to. Where are you at? Michelle Sorrow. Huh. Michelle declined. Huh. Why would she decline? Let's see this. Go live with Michelle. I won't decline you. All right, here we go. Fire and Soul podcast. The incredible Michelle Sorrow at Michelle Sorrow. Sorro. There she is.
Hey, my friend. No, I did not. It was the strangest thing. I think you broke the Instagram this morning because I tried to accept and it said video is paused. Grand introduction. Hello.
Hello. See, this is good. More Good News Wednesday, so I had to have you on. You're like
I'm
more
so
good
glad.
news.
And by the way, I am so into the group of improvement. I mean, if we're not humble enough to look back and be like, wow, how did I grow? What did I learn? Where was the grace? Then I feel like it's like we're not living our life to our infinite potential. I was so grateful to have that prompt this morning. Thank you.
You're awesome. Well, it is absolutely our pleasure to allow people, hopefully, to live for an instant between limitlessness and infinity as you talk about your potential and in that big room of improvement. Now, you have done it all. You obviously have a big personality and for the right purpose, which is the best way to use our personalities and our characteristics, obsessions, and addictions. For you, transferring into the podcast realm, like me, we've been more on the traditional business side of things. You've been an incredible TV host, and on the retail side, probably selling more products than most salespeople in the history of history. But now into the podcast realm, where it's an entire different medium and relationship that you have with your community. And so I was hoping that we could talk about what I think is the most important part of what you do is building a community. And I know a lot of people don't realize that you sold so much because of your community. Now you're an expert in the Fire and Soul podcast of building a whole nother community. What's the difference between the two platforms to be able to build a community and to be able to affect and impact change?
Such a great question, Dave, and no one's asked me that. By the way, I love it when you smile. So good.
That's my goal always, by the way, for someone to say, no one's ever asked me that. I love
right,
that.
me too. It's the best. And I'm like, how has that question not been asked before?
Wait, I got this before you answer. I got to tell you this. Yesterday, I did a podcast. You'll love this because you do them. And my goal's always that. Like I've had Deepak Chopra, like always big guests. And I'm like, I want them to tell me they've never heard that question. Well, this kid that went to my college, they are in Clubhouse Media, and he's young. And he literally, I asked him a question, and he goes, wow, that's amazing. He goes, I just answered that question in the last interview. And I'm like, oh, you destroyed me.
Still on my thunder.
Yeah,
I know.
so good.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
By the way, you're like a child that made you so happy. I will answer that. You know, it's interesting because the two worlds of TV retail and QVC, HSN, I was on Extra up until December for 4 years, slinging product next to Mario Lopez. I've sold over, $220 million worth of product, a lot that you use and love and enjoy, and your wife as well. And you would think that that world doesn't connect to a podcasting world because it was like a 180 when I woke up to realizing that being on the trajectory of one day being a full-time Emmy award-winning television host on some, show was no longer my jam. It was a 5-year-old little girl dream. And I know you'll get this, looking for significance, wanting to matter. Have I done enough to earn everyone's love? And that's just me being really, really honest. Well, I woke up at a Tony Robbins event called Date with Destiny just a few years back. And I was literally and metaphorically dropped to my knees of, there's so much more that you're supposed to be doing. Here to serve, here to give, help to create and cultivate community. I didn't know where to begin. Friends had started podcasts. I thought it was for megastars like you or big global brands. And I was like, maybe I could start a podcast. And so my business, which has turned into, as you know, a near 7-figure business with no ads, no email, like completely organic, all from the podcast, started there. And so how do I connect the world of being able to sell in real time, which is live TV, insane quotas, $10 to $50 million an hour, which is basically direct response, right? To building a community with a podcast and getting access to people like you. You were on my show a couple days ago. I'm so excited and honored by that. And Dave Asprey, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, just the list also for myself is incredibly humbling. And it's one word, it's connection. You know, I mean, if you really want to cultivate community, then you've got to learn to genuinely and authentically connect. And that means being radically humble and honest and owning your areas and where you're growing. But when you can listen more than you speak, especially as the host of a podcast, and you open up that gold, which you unearthed with me, asking me a question that I hadn't been asked, and then we dive a little bit deeper, I have found in those relationships with guests on my podcast, it's led to multiple 6-figure business collaborations with guests that were once just a dream and a long shot, but because I had a platform and I connected authentically and listened, we co-created a community by joining forces.
And it's amazing. And I think it's so humbling to me when you talk about going to Tony Robbins, because I think a lot of times later on in my career, especially with the new platforms, I've resisted selling anything, right? I met with Dean Graziosi and Tony and Ed Milet, and I'm like, how do you guys sell off the stage? Like I don't want to use I want to just teach them. And they looked at me and they said, Dave, have you ever bought anything? And I said, yeah, I bought Tony. I'm so old. I bought Tony Robbins 12 cassette tapes. And they were in
with the yellow Sony Walkman.
Worse. I won't age myself, but even worse. Like, it was almost 8-track. I'm so old. But yes, it was cassette. It was cassette.
Love it.
And I bought Wayne Dyer's CD-ROMs.
I
and
freaking love
DVDs.
Wayne Dyer.
Yeah. And so Dean's looking at me at dinner and he's like, so what do you think? He said, was it worth buying that stuff? I said, changed my life.
Yeah.
And it changed my life. Listening to cassette tapes on my old piece of crap car, in my old piece of crap recorder. And I would listen again and again. And like, see Ricky Bobby, there's like Tony Robbins was a scam.
I saw that.
Right?
I have to say, has not yet been in a live room with Tony, because I used to think that too, Ricky, just saying. Once you get in that live room and you experience that man on a whole different level in that community, that tribe, and you wake up, you just want to bow down.
And if you think any of us are scam artists, that's what you're going to get. Dave Meltzer is a hypocrite. I won't speak for Michelle, but Dave Meltzer is a hypocrite. And you can poke holes into my shit all day long, read my books. You can resist everything I teach. But if you embrace it, if you don't look for what you're not looking for, if you don't look for what's missing, what you don't want, what other people think, or what you're afraid of, because that's what you're going to get in every one of my books, right? That's exactly right. I learned how to read backwards. Read that off to everyone.
Sorry, I didn't realize I hadn't flipped the mirror. It says, where focus goes, energy flows. I have to live by this and literally have it on my bookshelf, because I know that whatever I focus on will be my reality. So if I want to focus that life is good and unlimited, and that, yes, I'm in the big room for improvement, then that's going to be my reality. But if life is shit and people are scammy, that's going to be my reality. I choose to look for the good.
Yeah, exactly. Like anytime, it's so funny, anytime we own a few properties and my wife will get a little bit upset, the sink's leaking or something's happening. And I said, we're so blessed. It's like, Dave, what are you talking about? I said, think about how blessed we are that things go wrong and they don't matter. Like, I remember getting locked out. I got locked out in law school in my house, and I didn't have $75 for the locksmith. So I had to ride my bike to my girlfriend's house to borrow money, which was a complete ego slam. You can imagine the embarrassment at 20, something years old in law school and having to borrow the money to get into my house. And I was crying. It was just no more than literally a year later, I was a millionaire. And I locked myself out of my Miami, which I bought a Miami condo, at 24. and I locked myself off, and I had a big bag phone, and I just called up the locksmith, and I didn't even ask him how much, right? And I'm like,
Yep.
you get what you want. And so I know that's a blessing, that
Mm.
it doesn't mean anything when things go wrong to me. I can just handle it, and I'm so blessed. And so I want Ricky Bobby and everyone out there to realize what you focus in on, as you suggest, you'll get. That's why I call this More Good News Wednesday, right?
Yes.
You're my first
Yes.
piece of more good news for my Wednesday, coming on here and sharing how important it is. So, for that though, did you go into the Tony Robbins thing thinking that you were going to be scammed, or like, because I had to go through that too. Like, I was my first Wayne Dyer thing, I was like, oh man, this, I forget the name of the big event, though. My wife was super excited, it was like, I forget, it was one of those seek something. And I was like, this is such a waste of time.
Such bullshit. Right. Exactly.
Exactly. So did you go in with that mindset, or were you already like preparing for Tony?
Okay, so like you, I was a cassette learner from Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Byron Daty. I mean, all the greats from way back, right? So I was kind of raised on a steady diet of self-development. But however, I did believe that people were stupid to go to a live event. Why would you fly there, pay for the hotel, pay thousands of dollars? That's just stupid. You can get all the shit on. Sorry, I'm like using my
That's okay.
my bombs this morning. You got me fired up.
Good.
And right, like I'm tapping back into, I totally get where Ricky's coming from, right? Like I remember that mindset as well. And I just thought, that's so lame. You can watch YouTube and like get your parents like old cassettes out, right? Or whatever. And the reality is that I saw I'm Not Your Guru on Netflix. And after I saw that, which was a depiction in a documentary that Tony had to be talked into for 3 years by Joel Berlinger, who is an award-winning filmmaker in the documentary space, super, super respected, and was as skeptical as you and I were once, and Ricky might still be, right? And was like, hell no, told his wife, I'm going to go because Tony invited me, but I'm out day one. And he was done. He was like leaving the doors, and he called his wife, and she was like, you know what, honey, why don't you just stay one more day? You've already blocked your schedule off. Lord knows your schedule is booked 2 years out. Just give it one more day. But if you want to leave by the end of the day tomorrow, I will support you, and I will pick you up at the airport when you land back in Los Angeles. Well, day 2, he had his massive breakthrough. He was having his metaphorical drop to your knees moment. Now, the reason why, and so then he was like, Tony, we have to share this with millions of people. Tony's like, hell no, there's no way you can capture what happens in this room on a documentary. I've seen it. I'll be judged. Like, it's just, people are too skeptical. So I saw that documentary, and I put it at the top of my bucket list, not the documentary, but to get to Date with Destiny. Yeah. And so when I did get there, though, I had only one goal in mind. It was Tony. I'm talking to him in my mind. Help me turn my shopping segment on Extra into a one-day award-winning full-time gig, right? And by the way, Extra producers had invited me to their holiday party, and I turned it down, don't mind my grind, to attend Date with Destiny. And they were already talking to me about being their weekend correspondent. So I already knew I was on the path to my greatest dream coming true. And day 5 of that incredible event that I was like, why would anyone pay all this money and get into the room? I was so cracked open. So you got the lights and the music and your pattern interrupts and all the NLP where you are exhausted and exhilarated and you have access to the truth of your potential. And I didn't know that to be true except for the live room. And that's where I was like, oh my God, that's not my path anymore. There's a different path, and where the hell do I begin? And the podcast is where it was. So I hope that answers your question, but that's my real story. It was that divine intervention that I was not looking for, and I'm so grateful for.
And I am so grateful as well, because that platform, as Tony's and many others, changed lives. And my favorite thing about this whole new thing that just happened through attention and intention in my life is, I had a group yesterday, and some guy I never met, sitting in his car, holding his phone up, just breaks down and says, I can't even tell you, but you changed my life. Dave Meltzer changed my life. I'm going to email you how. If anyone wants to know, they email Dave. He's welcome to forward the email. And he's crying. I'm crying. I'm like, how is my life this wonderful?
Yeah.
To plant seeds all over the place under trees that, I'll never even sit under. But I know just through the periodic feedback that I'm getting that it has a purpose far beyond what I ever thought of being an entertainer or of an educator.
Or a
and it's different.
multimillionaire, right? Trying to build the wealth and letting that somehow be the equivalent of all the emotional, response that you wanted to feel from success. And now you know for sure the money ain't the thing, right? It's that fulfillment. Tony actually says this, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So
Yeah,
here you are,
I've lived
having
that.
seen it, built it, lost it, built it again, lost it, built it again. But now you're on this mission to empower billions to be, happy. And how are you doing that? Through things like this, unparalleled value. So you asked me a question a moment ago, and I know we got to wrap, but it's like, how do you feel about selling, right? And then Dee
Yeah,
and Tony and you. And it's like, I don't think of it as selling. I know I've got value to offer. I'm serving. It's not about me. It's about you. I know that what's meant for me and who's going to transact and transform with me is already done, right? I don't have to hustle. I don't have to grit. I just trust in the process and know that everything is happening for everyone's highest and best good. Not mine, not my pocketbook, right? Everyone's. So if you're meant to transform with me, awesome. If you're meant to transform with David, great. If we can co-create something and transform even more so and compound that quantum effect, even better. But it's not about selling, it's about serving. And when you're here on this insatiable drive, with this insatiable drive to serve and to make a difference and to live for those messages like yesterday and the guy in the car on the side of the road, then it all is worth it. And you can handle the skepticism when it comes in, because it's not about that. You just keep going.
yeah, no doubt. It's I used to look for a defining moment. Now I look for the designing moment.
Oh,
What's
that's
gonna
so
just
good. I'm writing that down, Dave.
you got another Meltzerism before you left. Exactly. More good news for you and I, Michelle. Let's do more things together.
Let's
You
do
are
it.
a dream come true at Michelle
Likewise.
Sorrow, the Fire and Soul podcast. Anywhere else or anything else you want to send people to or
You're
expose them
very
with?
kind. You can head on over to my page at Michelle Sorrow right here. And quite frankly, if you want to start a podcast, we're actually holding a masterclass tonight. It's free. You'll get the pathway to it. You can sign up and show up, and we'd love to serve you there. Dave, it's always such a pleasure, and your team's amazing. Love
Thank
to
you.
Colleen and Jake and Blaine. Have a beautiful, blessed
You
day,
know
my
them
friend.
all. That's amazing. That's so perfect. Remember, I think of Michelle when I think of this. If you want to get to where you want to go, find someone who's already there and ask them for directions. And Michelle gives really great directions. So thank you so much, my dear. I will
Thank
see
you,
you
my
soon.
friend. Have a beautiful day. Take
Bye
care.
bye. She's awesome. All righty. More good news on Wednesday. Led off by our home run hitter right there, the Fire and Soul podcast, the famous TV star, and more importantly, my friend. And she is on the same mission as I am to empower others, to be happy. So her Instagram is at Michelle Sorrow. Michelle, Sorro. Michelle's amazing person, host of the Fire and Soul podcast. They have a podcast accelerator. If you go to her website, and if you need to reach out to me, I'll hook you up. David@dmeltzer.com, pinned below. All right, let me see here. Rhino Julie is here, you said. He has a quick question for me. I don't know why I can't see everybody, but it's an amazing Instagram deal here. My friend Julie, Rhino Julie, where are you? I am going to get to everybody in great at the perfect place at the perfect time, because that's the way my world works, at the right place at the perfect time. Rhino Julie, why don't you just give me a quick comment so I can join you in for a quick question. Julie Johnson, aka Rhino Julie, is a lifelong entrepreneur and most importantly a weight loss expert. So hook her up with those who are interested. Let me see, Jakey Bake. Do you see my friend Julie here? It should be at camper. Let me see. I don't know why. We get the bad instructions, my friend. I just don't know where to find her. Here we go. I got it. All right. I'm not as slow as I look. Oh, will not let me join. How do I do that? Thank you for your patience, everyone. I see it, but it won't let me join her. Invite to join. And I'm going to invite to join her as we search that. I'm going to get this down. I don't know why my thing does this. Huh. Not there. Huh. I apologize. Jake, it's not letting me join. I see her there, and it's not letting me join her. Can you make a request somehow? Camper or camper. I know it just will not let me join her. That is so weird when it does that. And she's not requesting it. So Jake, help me out. I want Julie on here. So let's get her on. Sorry about that. I'll take a quick question. Didn't mean to slow everybody down. What are unconscious competencies? So we have our conscious side, our subconscious, which is the neural pathways, and then we have an unconscious competency, which I define as your quantum memory. I define it as your personality traits, your characteristics, your obsessions and addictions that create a frequency and activation that attracts things to you. So if you're in a process of you feel as if you think, say, and do and all the right things and believe all the right things, but the same stuff keeps happening, it's because your unconscious competency needs to shift. You need to change your personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions that have been handed down from 4 generations to you. They've been handed down maybe from 4 lifetimes to you, if you believe in that. So go ahead and check that out. I am looking for my friend Julie. Maybe it's already 8:25. Let me take my friends from Keep Your Cadence first, and then I'll go back to Stephanie Hahn is here. Hopefully we can get that one going here. Christian Stevens, Stephanie, where is that? Everybody. Huh. All right. Is Stephanie Hahn here as well, or am I all in Instagram black hole? I love my gram. All right. Google id, ego, and super ego. Yes, that would be very helpful. All right. Let's. I have no idea why it won't let me. Please request to go public. Both Jake will not let me gather people in. I'm trying to view requests, and it will not. They're not in here. They won't allow me. When I hit it, it just says to pin it. Steph is here. I see you, my friend. It just says pin. It will not let me join anybody. So I don't know if I should log in or out myself. They're all here. Your cadence is here. Oh, jeez. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to log out myself because it's obviously me. Please log back in. Thank you, everybody.